Russell Brown goes stacking crazy. Yes, in this tutorial, brought to you, of course, by The Russell Brown Show, I'm going to be talking about stacking once again. In this project, I took a series of photographs in Singapore. I wanted to combine them together to create this really great image you see here. But when you're there, you actually are simply taking photographs that look like these. You're taking individual long exposure shots, in this case of a light show that takes place in Singapore every evening. Now each shot really looks interesting, but what's great is when you combine all of the exposures together to create the ultimate light show, and it looks like this. Let's give this a try. I'm going to go ahead and select all my images. I'm selecting the first image on the right, holding down the Shift key and clicking to select all of the images. Of course, before I started this project, I used Adobe Camera Raw to get the exposure and quality of light just the way I wanted it. And now I'm going to merge them together. Here with them all selected, I'm going to go right up here to my Tools menu. Now I could do this using the Photoshop built-in technique where you load files into Photoshop layers. But I'm using Dr. Brown's services, which you can download as well from the link that you see here on the screen right now. After I get it installed, I'm going to go right over here to Dr. Brown's Stackomatic. This is great. Stackomatic will do everything we need in one step. Selecting that, this dialog appears. Here in step number 1, we want to create layers. Step number 2, we want to lighten all of our layers using this blend mode setting right here. And then right here, we want to auto align all the layers. This is critical. Even though my camera was on a tripod, it's really important to align them. And finally, add layer masks right here. I may want to remove things from certain exposures as it combines them all together. We'll see that in just a minute. I'm going to click OK. It's now going to start to open up each of these images, which of course have been adjusted in Adobe Camera Raw, and start to layer them, and then it will set the blend mode across all of the images. There you have it. This process is quick, fast, and simple, and you can see the results here on your screen. But you know what I'm going to do now? I'm actually going to crop this image because I've noticed when I did this that I have a little bit of transparency on the left and the right hand side, because during the process of overlaying these images and aligning them, it has distorted the edges, as you can see here. So let's crop that away. So let's select the crop tool, and we can slide the crop tool over here on the left and the right. Now here's a great tip and technique when using the crop tool. After you've selected your control point on the crop tool, hold down the control key. The control key will turn off the automatic snap to feature, and so it will no longer snap to the edges. This way you can align it exactly where you want it, just like that. Again, click on the control point here on the right, then hold down the control key, and then you can slide this without it snapping to the edge, just like that. Perfect. I'm going to double click on the inside and crop that. Okay, now let's move forward. We could stop here, but of course there's always more. In this particular project, I want to demonstrate how you can use the mask that was automatically built in with this project and my script. For example, I'm going to go over here and select my brush tool right here. Moving up here to the top to my options bar, I'm just checking to see that my hardness is set to 0%. Really nice soft brush. 100% opacity. So now here I can target the layer masks for each of these layers. And in this particular case, I want to reduce the value of the clouds, for example. So all I do now is then paint with my black paintbrush here over the clouds, and I can reduce the values of the clouds on that particular layer. Once again, selecting my second layer and then painting. So I can go through and use this layer mask, which has been automatically attached to each one of these layers, to go in and remove things from the image that I don't want within the composite. There you have it, stacking at its best, working with night photography for light shows or fireworks shows where you want to combine multiple exposures together.